The University of Pretoria says pictures circulating on social media of students sleeping in campus toilets and libraries while they wait for accommodation are staged. The institution says it has CCTV footage of the students pretending to be asleep while others take pictures of them. Some students took to social media on Tuesday saying they have been left stranded while their white counterparts get to stay at university residences. But student leader Kabelo Mahlobo Gwane says the issue is genuine and that there are about 100 students who are still stranded. Well, joining us on the phone line is Candace Euster from the University of Pretoria, who is the spokesperson at the university. Candace, thank you so much for joining us this morning right here on Africa News Network. Now, can you confirm that indeed these pictures circulating on social media are indeed students pretending to be asleep at the toilets, or is this indeed a legitimate call?
Our preliminary investigations allude to the fact that they are in fact staged photographs. We have CCTV footage, and we do believe that these photographs have been staged.
Now, Candace, just talk us through the provisions which are being made to deal with the situation if it is actually legitimate.
Well, all legitimate needs for accommodation are being dealt with at the university. We are engaging with students and taking it on a case-by-case situation. Unfortunately, we have limited resources. We can only accommodate about 15% of the student body. And where we find a need, we have made provisions for students, and we have taken the time to ensure that we try and find accommodation for students that are in need.
Now, should this not be the case, what action will be taken against the perpetrators and those found guilty of staging these sleep-ins in toilets?
Well, the university is going to investigate it thoroughly. We're not going to have a knee-jerk reaction to the situation. We would like to investigate properly and make a decision once we have an outcome from the investigation.
Perhaps, Candace, can you just give us an estimate number of students without accommodation at the university, if there is without accommodation, and just talk us through the university's measures taken so far to assisting these students?
I don't have an exact number of students that are without accommodation. As I said, we deal with them on a case-by-case nature. And what I want to say is that more than 60% of our residences are populated by our black students, who are the majority of our student body. And as I mentioned earlier, as we get requests for accommodation, students must come forward, students must engage with us so that we understand what their needs are. Once we understand what their needs are, we will do everything in our power to ensure that we assist them in getting their academic year on the road, because that is our basic and fundamental job with our students, is ensuring that they get through their academic year and without problems, especially without problems of accommodation and a place to sleep at night. It is really, really in the university and our students' best interests that we work together and ensure that our students are made as comfortable as possible in order to complete their education.
Well, Candace, thank you so much for talking to us this morning. Also joining us on the phone line to discuss this matter further is Vusi Mahlangu, who is a student activist at the University of Pretoria. Vusi, thank you so much for joining us this morning on Africa News Network. Now, can you confirm that indeed these pictures which are circulating all over social media, that it is indeed students without accommodation, or are these students just merely staging this whole act?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think first we must reject the racist comments that has just been made now by the spokesperson of the university. Black students at the University of Pretoria have been complaining about the racist quota system that has been putting a 60-40 ratio of white, 60% white and 40% black for over 10 years now at the University of Pretoria. As things stand, this is nothing but a retaliation of students who have been angered over the last few years. And it is a crisis that has built up over the years. We reject as racist the kind of comments that have just been heard now on national TV by people who are beneficiaries, people who are relaxed wherever they are, yet there are students who sleep in toilets, in offices, and all over the place, and the university has an audacity to give a residence to someone staying in Menlo Park, Waterkloof, and has a just next to the university.
And without interrupting you, can you just talk to us with regards to communication between management and the students? Has management actually approached students to try and rectify this situation and try place perhaps some of the students without accommodation into residences?
Well, University of Pretoria's management is very racist, and this is a racist policy that has been pushed to push Afrikaner Dom for past years. There's a deliberate act by a racist management to advance a racist agenda. So there's nothing much that has been done by this racist management. In fact, they want to perpetuate it.
Now, what are the students' plans moving on forward in addressing this matter with management and having this matter dealt with the sense of urgency which you guys needed to be dealt with? What are your plans moving on forward with addressing this issue?
Well, this is a product of us having attempted for years to engage management on the Afrikaner Dom racist crisis in the university. As a result, we were left with no option but to protest. And as a result, we were left with no option but to take photos of students. That is otherwise embarrassing, that is otherwise bad. To take a photo of a student that is sleeping in a toilet, for an example. But we were left with no option because of the arrogance of the management at the University of Pretoria. It is as a result of that arrogance that students resorted to this. Otherwise, management is not willing to engage except the empty rhetoric that they throw in the media and the empty rhetoric that they throw to the nation throughout many other forms of media.
Now, do you feel that this is more of a race issue? And why do you feel that this is more of a race issue? Have you raised this problem of race with the management as of yet?
Well, it is a race issue because the policy of 60-40, 60 white and 40 others, has been maintained in that university for over 10 years now. And if you go drastically into the residence culture of a University from Pretoria, tax, you can realize that it is preservation of Afrikanerdom. And as a result, they want to preserve that, and it has nothing to do with whether the management is black or white, but it is just a preservation of an old culture that has been there for the past years. University of Pretoria can appear black in terms of management structure and so forth, but it's still dominantly an Afrikaner institution, it's still dominantly an Afrikaner culture orientated.
Well, Vusi, thank you so much for speaking to us this morning. Well, that was student activist Vusi Mahlangu from the University of Pretoria, and earlier on was the University of Pretoria spokesperson Candice Jooste, just speaking more on the recent matter of the pictures circulating on social media where UP students are staging acts or rather sleeping in toilets due to lack of accommodation in that university.